there was ever shine civilization. Some people hate English, I don't. They're just wankers. We, on the other hand, are colonised by wankers. Can't even find a decent culture to be colonised by. We're ruled by a few assholes. It's a shite state of affairs to be in, Tommy, and all the fresh air in the world won't make any fucking difference.
Что это было?
If you managed to understand what they were actually saying, you understood a good deal more than I did. If it hadn't been for Scotland and the very inspiring and pioneering research carried out by Professor Templeton and his team, which I read about 10 or 15 years ago, I probably wouldn't have done a PhD in improving our abortion care in Norway. So I actually am quite fond of Scotland. I'm actually a little bit confused because every speaker's been given very specific guidelines with strict time limits, and they've all submitted abstracts, whereas my mandate has been terribly vague. I asked the president, who you can see looking very nervously over there, if I could freely associate about Scotland and porridge and the soggy weather, and she looked horrified and said emphatically no. And I also asked Dr. Fiala there for some advice, and I asked my mentor, Professor Brittingen Denesheim, who's actually sitting down there in the audience, what I should do, and she's a very wise woman indeed, because without her I would never have got my PhD. And she said, well, you know, just be nice. and remember to heap praise on the local organizing committee and the scientific committee. So, impressions from the Congress, just rattle quickly through them, but some people have given a full disclosure of interest, so I think it's only decent for me to give mine. I was born white in Africa from marauding colonialist stock, and I think there's quite a high risk that I do have Scottish genes, because most Scandinavians are good looking and tall and blonde, and I think something went terribly wrong in my mother's pregnancy. I don't know about the Scottish genes bit, but I went down to Portikill yesterday, and I asked the gentleman whether he thought I looked good in a kilt, and he said he probably wouldn't wear it up in Norway if it was him. Now, I attended a Christian boarding school for 7 years, but it didn't save my soul, and I'm quite easy to corrupt because I've received money from several drug companies to talk about contraception and also incontinence. And I like porridge and cod liver roll. Now, you're probably wondering where on earth I've turned up from. I just want to show the limit of the civilized world as we know it. I think you might just be able to include Scotland in there, possibly the south of Norway. I don't think we'd go very much further than that, but that's where I am, right bang up there where the sun doesn't shine, as Sam put it. And there you can see my house in the background there. Don't have too much trouble weeding the lawn there, because it doesn't really, things don't grow up there. Now, I do get around. I'm not trapped up there in the eternal darkness all the time. So you can see last week I was in Rome, and it was quite good as long as I didn't go to the actual conference. It was
Он говорит, что на прошлой неделе был в Риме.
I did some sightseeing.
Он сделал, посмотрел Рим. Вот это он приехал в Рим.
welcomes you to Edinburgh for a special Scottish experience. So, and as my mum says, you never get a second chance to make a first impression, so could barely see the runway as the plane landed in a torrential downpour that I don't think I've even seen in my years in Kenya. And there I think you can see the highlights of Edinburgh there. I took a little taxi tour. You can see, I think there's a castle in there somewhere. Some historic building of interest, all quite soggy. And I even did some shopping down at the West End there. You saw I got my kilt. So yes, it's been most enjoyable. Now, we are a wide international audience here. I saw on our crib sheet that there were 45 countries, delegates from 45 countries attending here, some from as far away as Australia. And I'm definitely in the minority. There are substantially more females here than males, but I don't protest because I don't have to stand in queue when the breaks come along. So just to actually get down to, I do tend to waffle, I was supposed to comment on the actual conference and unwanted pregnancy, a fact of life, and just a few. There have been so many good sessions, and there's been so many good speakers, and so many interesting things said. So I've just got a few snippets of things that aren't maybe very representative of what the conference is, but there are things that I noted. And Frudi's talk about needing to claim the moral high ground, I thought that was pretty good, and I love Catholics for choice. I think that's a good concept. And conscientious commitment as opposed to conscientious objection, I like that one. And of course, Dr. Fiala never ceases to plug his amazing Museum of Contraception in Vienna. I can't remember what else he talked about, but I certainly remembered his museum, so please call in if you're ever there. Where contraception is freely provided, abortion rates and emergency contraception decline. That was shown rather conclusively. Now this one I liked. Male contraception may prevent baldness. And I promise you, the instant that pill appears in the shop, I'll be the first in queue.
Baldness это лысина.
And we mustn't remain complacent. Training is being threatened in the UK, but as the Swedes and as Professor Bird also showed in his admirable study there, that midwives or nurse providers or not even nurse providers are effective for termination of pregnancy, and they are also preferred by the women, as the Swedish study has shown. Women are stereotyped to make them weaker than men. Health and safe abortion go hand in hand. A frustrated comment, but I thought this was really good. This is why it's so fascinating to live in Europe, because it's so complicated. I thought that was very, very telling. And this one was just a classic. I can't actually repeat exactly what he said. I think there's been a very high scientific standard here. I always make a point of going down and looking at the posters because they take an enormous amount of work to make, and I think they deserve to be given a good reading. All the sessions I've popped into have been varied and well attended, and we've had renowned international experts from all continents presenting and updating us. And the tea and lunch are great. I mean, I paid 950 euros to go to Figo last week, and they didn't even give me a cup of tea. This has been a superbly organised and run conference. It's been absolutely flawless. I mean, I'm on the organising committee for our annual general meeting next week, and I thought we'll never be able to make it run as well as this. And when the British actually managed to run something really well, yeah, it is something to sit down and take credit for. I think the local organising committee and the scientific committee have done an absolutely superb job. They deserve that, and the chairs and the speakers are generally good at keeping to schedule. I mean, we had a legendary session in Berlin a few years back where we were so fierce at keeping time that we almost finished before we had started. So we appreciate that. The only thing actually, if there was one thing I had to point out, and I did so yesterday, that there were no pens in the bags. But as Dr. Fiala said, and I can't imitate his accent, but I try. If that is the only negative impression of the conference, then I must say it's been greatly successful. So I'd just like to leave with the last message I heard in one of the sessions today, and I thought it was actually very good. FIAPAC, where good people get together.
Thank you, Kevin, and we'll now invite Dr. Fiala back to retaliate. Future perspectives.
Well, that's really